Because never underestimate your ability to transform yourself and those around you. One day you will change. One day it won't matter as much. I read somewhere which said, do you know what forgiveness really means? It means the whole world has sinned and the whole world needs to be pardoned. Everybody's made mistakes. Everybody should be forgiven. What can be a legitimate reason to not forgive somebody? So her question is that she's hurt and she wants to forgive, but she doesn't know how to go about it. And whatever she's tried doesn't seem to be really working. I'll give you 2 golden rules. But obviously, you have to earn them. You have to wait for those rules. But I will actually give you 2 golden rules or guidelines or principles, whatever you want to call them, based on where you are on the ladder of spirituality. Around forgiveness, around how to forgive. One thing you have to really come to terms with is this. Everybody has a certain capacity. If you're expecting from somebody that they are not capable of, if you're expecting somebody to be dependable, for example, and they are just not dependable, sometimes you end up waiting a whole life and nothing really changes in that person. If a man in a house is clumsy, if he's messy, if he doesn't care about personal hygiene, that's how he will be for the most part of his life. The only good thing is that people do change a little bit every decade. So if this person, there are 10 things about that person that really drive you nuts, in another 40 years, there'll only be 6. Because one will disappear every decade. Hopefully it won't be replaced by something new. But the point is that everybody has a certain capacity. And to expect more than what they are capable of doing or giving or being is only setting yourself up for that misery. So therefore, before you even contemplate on the issue of forgiveness, you really have to reflect deeply on this. This person I'm expecting something from, is he even capable of doing it? Is he even there? Does he even understand? This guy walks into a library and he says to the person at the reception, "I'll have a cheeseburger and fries, please." She says, "Excuse me, this is a library." "Oh," he said, "I'll have a cheeseburger and fries." But you can't get that in a library. Nishtaji? Correct? Right. You can't get that in a library. You can get cheeseburgers and fries in a library. So if someone isn't serving what you want, how can they give you? They are not serving the things you seek from that person. They have a different kind of a menu. Maybe they can lend you some books, but they can't give you what you need to eat, unless you're a mouse, in which case you can eat books. Right? But they can't give you. So you have to understand that when we talk about forgiveness, are we asking somebody to do something for us that they just aren't cut out for? And there are a couple of things we just take human as a race, us humans, or you humans. whatever you feel more comfortable with. As a human race, there are a couple of things we just get very worked up about. Couple of emotions are absolutely dramatic for us: loyalty and forgiveness. Somehow we think it has to come from the highest corner and we have to be, yes, I forgive you. Right? How could you do this to me? Sometimes we come from that angle. Why can't it be just, hey man, why did you go out of home? I mean, you could have come back, you could have called. If somebody vanished and they reappeared, it can also be taken a little lightly. I think that's the kind of equation, for example, a mother shares with her children. If they go out of the home and they come back, she of course scolds them. She's not saying, okay, I'll make halwa for you. But it's not like, I can never look at you the same way. It's not that dramatic. This man, it was like raining cats and dogs, like absolute buckets. And he went into this bakery shop, which was about to, put the shutter down. And he said, excuse me, please just wait. I just need 2 blueberry muffins. And he looked, it was raining like hell, and it was almost like the street was flooding. And he thought, unbelievable, in this weather, this man has come to get muffins. He must be very hungry, or he must absolutely love his muffins. And he said to the customer, he said, sir, you must absolutely love these muffins. In this weather, for you to come out all drenched. He said, look, it's not for me, all right? I don't even eat muffins. Oh, is it for your wife then? He said. What do you think? He said, my mother sent me in this weather. Who else would send me in this weather? Now, the point is that sometimes some things, when it comes to certain things, we take ourselves too seriously, when in reality, nobody gives a shit about that emotion or about us or about you. Nobody couldn't care less. But somehow, because we take ourselves so seriously, we think, it happened to me, I'm not going to let it go. I will teach you a lesson. I will not talk to you. There you go. So, and the funny thing is, the woman's thinking, I am teaching him a lesson, but the man's thinking, good riddance. Now, I'm not supposed to spill out all the secrets of this race, this species, but my job is to tell the truth. So sometimes people have a certain tendency. Sometimes, believe it or not, it's not about you. Sometimes when people take a decision to do something in their life, it's not because they hate you or they love you or they like you. Sometimes you does not exist. You as a term, you do exist in his or her life, but you as a term does not exist in the moment of that decision making. Sometimes it's just about what they want to do. And we are the only race, even though we are supposedly the most educated, most intelligent, most advanced, most intellectual, and yet most ignorant about basic human needs. We are the only one that tie each other down. None of the animals do that, except pigeons and swans, maybe. So you are in the same category, right? Pigeons, swans, and humans. How about that? I mean, we can't even compare ourselves with an orangutan or a chimpanzee. It's with pigeons. And you know how they live? They live really dirtily. Next time, observe a couple of pigeons. I mean, they always base themselves in the wrong place. and just making a mess there. Absolutely. Nobody is happy with them. Nobody wants them, but they want themselves. And they will wake you up when no other bird is singing or chirping. Such is the life of pigeons and humans. Now, the point is that you've got to set the other person free. If he vanished, I don't mean to make light of what you went through, but if you really want forgiveness to fountain forth from the deepest corner of your consciousness, you've got to understand that it's not dependent on what others did or didn't do. One time it so happened, this person approached Buddha. And as you know, I don't like to call him the Buddha. I just call him Buddha. To me, it's not a title. It's just who he was. So this man approached Buddha and he started talking about another person in the town. And he said, Tathagat, such and such man, he speaks really foul. And he swears, and it's terrible to be around him. And he's never got anything good to say about anybody. And I don't even think anybody can trust him. Couple of minutes, Buddha listened, and then he said, all that may be true, but he's a very good sitar player. The way he plucks his lute, the sitar, the strings, is just unearthly. And Ananda and all the other ones sat and said, oh, we didn't think he would say nice things about this person who's clearly proven to be not so nice in the eyes of other people. And the next day, really as if by sheer coincidence, another person came and spoke about the same man. And he said, Tathagat, he's a phenomenal sitar player. Yes, all that may be true, Buddha said, but he really speaks ill of others all the time. I'm not sure if such a man can be trusted. And Ananda looked at, what's going on here? So as soon as the man left, he said, Tathagat, please resolve this for me. Yesterday, when somebody said the same thing, you said, look, he plays good sitar. And now today, when somebody said what you said yesterday, you actually said what the other person said yesterday, but he is a terrible man. Why would you say that? You spoke negative about somebody. And more importantly, you spoke the exact opposite of what you said yesterday. Buddha said, I was just balancing it out. Buddha said, what was spoken of him yesterday did not bother me. What was spoken of him today did not bother me. I did not accept or reject what was said of him yesterday. And I'm not accepting or rejecting what was being spoken of him today. And therefore, I am just neutral. There is nothing in my heart, in my consciousness about that person. And that reminds me of this beautiful story. I've shared this earlier, but because you're such lovely, beautiful people, you leave me with no choice but to tell you more beautiful stories. And I wasn't planning on telling this one today, but here we are anyway. That how could Buddha maintain his neutrality? On that, I'm going to tell you a little story. There was this very dashing young monk, dapper, who lost 15 kg like that in a matter of few months in Buddha's Sangha, in his community. And suddenly, he had everybody's attention. And one girl in particular, who wasn't part of the Sangha, quite liked him. But it so happened she was a common woman. She was a courtesan. And this monk came back from the alms and she stopped him on the way. She said, I also want to learn what all you guys do. Meditation and things. Why don't you stay with me for a few days? And this monk said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. She said, why? Because you're a monk and I'm a woman? He said, no, because the Tathagata has not asked me. I only am here to serve him. If he says, stay with you, I'll stay with you. Why don't you ask him then? The lady said. Why don't you ask, can you stay with me? He said, of course not. I don't ask anything. I simply do what I'm told. I'm supposed to eat my last meal before midday. I'm supposed to go seeking alms every time we run out of food. And I'm supposed to clean the quarters, the monks' quarters there. And I'm supposed to attend his sermons. And I'm supposed to seek his refuge. That's all I've been instructed to do. I don't think, I don't contemplate, I don't do anything other than this. She said, well, very well said, Tushai. And she then went to Buddha a few days later because she couldn't get him out of her mind. Tamasic sukh. And she went to Buddha and she said, you have many monks, but there is one in particular. I think he can really help me. It would be really kind of you, and I would be forever grateful to you if you can allow that monk to stay with me for a week or so. I'd like to meditate in his presence, and I'd like to learn from him directly. He is your direct disciple. Maybe his energy around my house will purify me. Buddha said, that can be arranged. It's not a problem. And he called his monk, his disciple. He said, you can accompany her, and I will see you next week. And he went. Everybody was shocked. And they tried to question. And it's a true story. The only sad part is I don't remember the names. It's a true story. You will find it in Buddhist scriptures. So everybody was shocked. And then they tried to question Buddha. They tried to ask him what was he thinking, why this unusual decision. But Buddha didn't offer any answers. So naturally, they didn't persist. A week later, this monk came back. And that woman completely transformed. And she was crying buckets. And she joined Buddha's Sangha and, got ordained by Buddha himself. And she accepted that monk as her god brother. And at that time, Buddha said, all of you who were wondering why I allowed such a thing should now know the answer. He said it was because when that woman, who was now a bhikshuni, when she asked me if he can accompany her, I had very briefly, ever so briefly, peered into my disciple's eyes, and I saw no desire in his eyes. And I knew right then that he would go and transform this woman. That is how you come from a position of strength. So when it comes to forgiveness, you first have to stand on the ground of neutrality somewhere. You've got to be a bit neutral so you can think straight. if you're emotionally embroiled in your own feelings, you would not be able to consider anything objectively, much less fairly. And unless I'm objective, I won't have the understanding that's required to arrive at a sound conclusion. So sometimes what we expect from somebody, I'm not even saying it's right or wrong, that's for you to decide. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. And sometimes they don't have that capacity. Sometimes in life, things are not supposed to work out the way you want. And there are a million other things that have not worked out the way you expected or the way we anticipated. But we don't complain about all those things. Then just because a man lives in the house with you doesn't mean that now you are no longer responsible for your feelings and thoughts. Only if you could really realize your supremely independent nature, if you could actually feel that connection with the Supreme Soul, I promise you, you will have no complaints from anybody in this whole world. Because you would realize that nobody is responsible for making me sad or happy. So I'll give you 2 rules to really bring out effective forgiveness in your life. And you are welcome to reject either or both of them. Because one of them will sound very counterintuitive. But I must give you the truth the way I see it. So number 1 rule, golden rule, remember, it's time for the golden rules. If somebody's really hurt you, go to them and tell them you are very sorry for hurting them. Tell them that you're very sorry for hurting them and you want to know what is it that hurt them so much that they hurt you. But in this conversation, don't make it about you. Keep it about them, okay? Say sorry, really mean it, and say, I'm sorry, I seek your forgiveness. Please, I never meant to hurt you. And then just wait. And then see what happens. In the so-called motivational literature, you would never be asked to seek forgiveness. You're always given the victim card. I've read countless motivation, these self-help books. And I've always realized they constantly keep telling you how you're so great and the whole world's out there to get you. That you can do this, you can do that. Yeah, right. You know, that you deserve the best, but the world's not going to give it to you, and so on and so forth. Maybe, maybe, actually, I won't say that sentence. I'll say some other one. Maybe you've got to ask forgiveness. And I'm by no means, even for a moment, I'm suggesting in the case of this lady, she's a lovely person who asked this question. I'm not saying it applies to her, but maybe you've made it so suffocating for the man to live in the house that he's had to go away. Or maybe he's had other agenda. He's got some other goal he wants to pursue, and staying at home is not one of them. One of the things that I get to see, which was quite baffling for me after I became a monk, to be honest with you, I get to see so many men crying. I don't know why it made me laugh, but women are known to shed tears every now and then, but I actually see so many men crying. They are really torn between their responsibilities and what they want to do. And what's really incredible is most of the time, their families, their children, their siblings, their parents have never seen those tears. and they don't know where to express, because the moment they express, others, and usually when men cry, we say he's a weak man. So they don't know how to express themselves. But they too have something they want to do with their life. Right? It's but what I mean to say is, if you really want forgiveness, start by asking forgiveness. You don't want to be at a stage where one day you discover the other person hurt you because you hurt them too much unknowingly first. And if you don't let go of the rage and anger and all the other sister emotions or brother emotions in you, that really is nobody's problem but yours. And the second rule of forgiveness is you tell them that you are really hurt by their such and such action, and that you have not been able to come to terms yet. Because never underestimate your ability to transform yourself and those around you. One day you will change. One day it won't matter as much. I read somewhere which said, do you know what forgiveness really means? It means the whole world has sinned and the whole world needs to be pardoned. Everybody's made mistakes. Everybody should be forgiven. What can be a legitimate reason to not forgive somebody? Really think about it. And I read this beautiful poem. I will tell you who wrote it afterwards. How could it be that we let our love fall? There were times in our life that we had it all. As the weather got colder, my attention did shift. But I could never be ready for this. Yes, my attitude changed. Then you cut me so deep. Is it possible to push a woman to cheat? So I pray not for gold, not for worldly riches. I pray for strength, wisdom, and forgiveness. Did I not tell you enough how beautiful you are? Do I deserve the bleeding of this never-healing scar? Would it be different that night if I said, please don't go? That I love you, that you are the food for my soul. Every time you hold rage or anger, if you have a spiritual body, a part of it dies. Because that's what she said. And I felt like half of my spiritual body had died. That every time you choose to hold on to those things that drag you down, the spiritual side of you dies a little. And what is left is pretense. And this poem was written by not Jane Austen, by somebody called Jesse. I don't know who this person is. So I just found it online. I thought it was a great poem. As much as you're sorry, she says, should I take some of the blame? Should I forgive and forget? Would you do the same? That's how it ends, So, in a nutshell, I'll end with this quote, I read somewhere this beautiful thing. God never said that the journey would be easy. God never said that the journey would be easy. But He did say that the arrival would be worthwhile. And that's what makes life what it is. That's what makes human emotions what they are. If you want to really have the forgiveness in your heart, not as an act that I forgive somebody, but as an emotion that you're just forgiving, then learn to seek forgiveness. In my mind, in my life, I don't think I've ever shied away from saying sorry to somebody if I think that I've hurt them, whether in robe, not in my robe. I'm very quick to apologize and say, look, I'm sorry if I hurt you, but if you tell me, then maybe I can do something about it. So seek forgiveness. If somebody's hurt you, find out, could it be that you hurt them real bad? Secondly, tell them candidly, but gently, how their actions hurt you and how you have not come to terms yet. Because when you express it, you will start to kind of reconcile with what happened in the past.